Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Every Arkansan podcast. I'm Drew Davis, and this week we've got my friend Amy from Nexus Coffee. She's sharing how she took her passion for a coffee house and turned it into something that is impacting this community for the kingdom, for business, and for ministry. So, Amy, thank you for being here today. Thank you for joining us. And this one's going to be a little bit different because what you've kind of chased after isn't your typical ministry.
Right.
But let's just jump into, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What's a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on here. I've been following what y'all been doing for a long time, and I love that God put this on your heart. So I always like to say, the dream of Nexus started on a napkin. Back in the fall of 2016, I was sitting across the table from my dad, like what we're doing now. And I remember being at a time in my life, just a dark time in my life. I wasn't feeling like myself. I just knew that I wasn't living out just my calling that God had on my heart. And there were a lot of situations that had happened where I just knew I needed to shift, what I was doing with my life and the path that I was on. And so we had a napkin between us, and I started writing out ideas and just some dreams God put on my heart. And really, it just started with a community place. I didn't know at the time it would be a coffee shop, but I just knew that we needed to bring people together, and that had always been something I loved doing since I was little. I always wanted to host events and parties and make people feel loved, and that was just something I loved to do. And so I knew the wrapping of it would have to change with time, but the heart of it always started with community. And so with that, we started brainstorming, and we thought about sort of this modern day gathering well as a coffee shop or a coffee house. And it's changed a lot over the years from drinking Folgers in the home to Starbucks to now this what's called third wave of coffee. So it's much more of an experience. And it's a place where people can come together. And so in January of 2017, we started putting together a business plan, and I started gathering a village because it takes a village. And we found this space downtown, thought too good to be true, but it wasn't. And I presented my idea to the owners, and they loved that. I just cared a lot about what was happening in the city. Mm-hmm. Being a native to Little Rock, I wanted to do something that gave back to downtown specifically because, as you know, it's changed so much in this area, and it's exciting, and there's so much diversity. Mm-hmm. So we opened our doors in July of 2017, and it's taken off from there.
So amazing down in that area. I used to work downtown, and back in the late 90s, we did not go down to where you're located, so it's cool to see that change. So the name of your coffee house is Nexus.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that name.
Yeah, so we wanted to do sort of a play on words. Nexus itself, the definition means a connecting point, like a central place. Mm-hmm. And I would read in scripture about how so many stories and people gathered at the well, and you see Jesus encountering people at the well often. And they're always so different, and everything from their background to their skin color to what they believed and what they knew. And so for us to have a place that is, to me, a modern day gathering well is what I refer to as our coffee shop. And it's where people, no matter where they came from or what they look like, can come and feel seen and valued. And, something I've learned through our church is that New Life is all about community, right? Mm-hmm. And so are we. And that's really the heart of what we do as ministry. But it's the wrapping of a coffee shop. It's the wrapping of a place where we can serve food and have different events and music nights. But people feel something different when they walk in our doors. And they may know little to nothing about our faith journey, but they feel something different. And it's really because people from our church community came and prayed over our shop, a group of my girlfriends, in 2017 before we opened our doors. Prayed over the seats and the door frames, and I don't always share that, but I love sharing it with people that really want to hear about why this is even a thing. It's really in prayer that it was founded on, like many things, and really everything in life. And so they prayed over all the people to come, and it's been such a journey, a lot of mistakes and figuring it out, but I'm really excited about the path that we're on now. And so the Nexus really is bringing all that into one point.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I'd been there a few times, and then Eric Gilmore sent me an email and said, "Hey, we're doing this Better with Pie thing." And so talk a little bit, I mean, most of the time we think of coffee houses, oh, it's poetry slam, it's this, but talk a little bit about how you've overlapped with ministry.
Yeah, well, that's right. And we love Eric and the team. And that's a place where people can story tell. And so when it overlaps with ministry, business ministry comes together. It's called Bennis Tree. That's my fun word for it. And I've heard that before. I'm going to take that. I like that. I'm going to use that. That's right. And for us, when we have different groups that come together and they have the heart like Immerse Arkansas does, where we can create a space where people can share their stories and feel, like I said before, feel very seen. At the end of the day, that's really what we want, is for our stories to be shared and to listen to others. And that's one of other ways that we can have a form of ministry in what we do, which is really serving others and letting people feel that light and feel seen. And how can we help each other in our differences? How can we help each other in our challenges and in our growth? And I've just seen the way that Nexus has embraced this community is because we have such a great team. It's taken a bit to find the right people. We've had good people, but not everyone was right for our environment. So once we have found those people, I'm really proud of everything they're doing. And they know what we do, and they know why we do it. That's really important, I've realized, especially, out in the world, coffee shops. People can come in, not know that your team is also behind the heart of what you're doing. And every single person on our team is behind it.
And it was kind of cool. You were kind of the first coffee house I've seen in Little Rock. Y'all have a little conference room.
Yes, we do.
Groups can come in and do that. But y'all have actually knocked out a wall now and expanding and creating more space for those encounters.
We got some sledgehammers around New Year's and we knocked that wall down. So our goal behind that, actually that space next door, it used to be open like that, actually about 2 decades ago. So that building has so much history. I love looking at our buildings downtown, even thinking about downtown New Life campus. That building has so much history to it. I love seeing when these old buildings, New Life is coming back into them, and it's being revitalized. And so our building has a lot of history, and so we wanted to bring that back. So we found out those walls can come down pretty easily for the most part. So they did, and that was around New Year's time. And we've been planning this for about a year. We knew it was going to happen, and we felt that there was a need for it. We were kind of outgrowing the space a bit, but we also wanted to be able to be more of a multi-purposeful space for a lot of reasons, but mainly just so we can offer more to the community, and I can help our team have more sustainable careers. You don't always think of coffee shops as an actual career path, but more of a job, which my goal is to make them feel like for as long as we have them, that we can take care of them as best we can. And so I knew that this could help set us up for that. So it was for our team and the community, really. And so now we have a bigger performance stage, and we're selling retail, like Arkansas retail up in there, and doing a second conference room, which we'll love for our groups to come in when they meet. Like when your team comes, you'll have a second space to do that. So it's really opened up the door. So 2020 is going to be a really exciting year for us. I can feel that.
And that connecting point, it's not just the people that are coming in and the staff and all that. Also, there's a story behind where you get your coffee.
Yes.
There's actual faces and people involved in that. So tell us a little bit about how you went that direction versus the cheapest, going with something that you can put a face to the coffee.
Right. Yeah, that was so important. And that was one of our goals as a business, is how can we take all the different parts of our business and give back? and coffee's one way. And that's, our main purpose is what we serve and do. People know us for. That's one way we can actually work with our community. And so our main partner is Giovanni Leva, who's just one of the most passionate people who gives God all the glory. And when I met him about 6 months before we opened our doors at our main shop downtown, I just knew we needed to work together. And so he's what we call our main partner in coffee, because we get to really share his story. And it comes from his farm in Guatemala that he grew up on. He came here at 18 years old with a shoebox and $20. And his mom and dad said, "We believe in you." And he studied English, and he actually got a technology degree at UA Little Rock. And then he did that for about 10 years. And then he realized the poverty back home and why he wasn't helping to bridge that gap. And so he called up his mom one day and he said, "Hey, I really want to be able to do more for our farming community back home and for all of our workers," because they had their land had absorbed a lot of coffee farm. And so they decided, well, how about we ship you the beans and you can learn to roast? And so over time, he learned to roast it. Right here in North Little Rock, he does it. He's been able to create Leva's Coffee, a business out of it. And the farming community has doubled in size. There is a school on the farm that the kids graduate and go to Guatemala City. There's running water now and electricity. All these things because we get to link arms with somebody like that. And we also get to feature other different roasters throughout the state, because we want to support as many folks as we can. But we call G our mainstay because he has a story unlike any I've heard, and because he is also in the business of ministry. And it's masked as a coffee roaster, and the heart of it is very similar to ours. And those are the types of folks we really want to partner with.
That's so cool. And then another side of it, it's so cool because I think I probably met you personally for the first time at church.
Yes.
But you also kind of have a little bit of a footprint around town with just pouring into other like-minded individuals. So tell me a little bit about that kind of beyond myself mentality. So
right. I feel like that's really what it's about for me. Is my goal through this. And like I said, all of our team members have their strengths that I don't have, but my strength for what I love to do. And I feel like once I identified those giftings and what I really felt God calling me to do was, how do I empower others in the community and help others who are in a similar time of life, or are starting a business, or want to be an entrepreneur, or have a dream, and I want to be able to feel like they can come meet me, and or I can go to them and share the journey that I've been on. So much of it is about letting people not only just identify their spiritual giftings and their gifts that God's given them, but using them. That's the second part, and that's the scary part. That's where fear comes in, and I feel like that's where the enemy works the most, is that we need to have fear in our gifts because those are our strongest weapons to use. And once I was able to really identify how I can help people, that's just who I am. I've always loved helping people, and I want people to feel inspired and feel empowered to just live out that dream and watch other businesses succeed, and especially our coffee shop community, friends of mine who've started and in this journey. I want them to know I'm here for them, and we want to support them because, as we know, we're all better together. And we will all win. We just have to set each other up to win. And just because someone else is winning doesn't mean there's not space for you. I think sometimes we have feared there's not any room for us, when in reality there's plenty. And it's just taking that step out and being obedient. And I tell people, just try, because it's not about winning. It's the act of obedience that God cares about. It's not about the world telling you what's success. It's just that you tried. And it's okay if you mess up. I've done 3 years of mistakes on my end, but it's all about how do you use those and redefine who you are and mold yourself through that.
In doing this and mixing business and ministry and mentoring and all of this together, tell me, what are some of the crazy things that have kind of come out of this? I mean, you talk about failing and learning and some of these things, but give me some hands-on stuff that we don't even think transpires at the coffee shops.
Oh my goodness. There's been so many stories being downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to come across so many different types of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the world that we live in, there's just so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching the way that downtown has shifted and changed through the years, especially the past 3 to 5 years, is so exciting. But going into it, you just don't know what to expect because you're in a downtown community. Mm-hmm. And I call them our wanderers, our friends who are out and about. How can we have so many stories with them coming into our shop. Who are homeless, who don't have a home, right? Mm-hmm. But they still need to belong somewhere. They need to feel like they have a home still. Mm-hmm. And so for us, it's how can we help give them resources mm-hmm. when they come in? Who do I know that we can call, or a ministry that can help take care of them? So we've had all kinds of stories just coming across, different folks coming into our shop and, getting to know them by name. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they have the craziest story, and they'll walk in dancing and doing silly things sometimes. But it's okay. They're still a child of God. I can't forget that. We can't forget that. And how can we help them in this situation? We also opened up the Nexus Nook in the library. And that opened up about a year ago. And we call it the Nook because it's sort of a gathering space surrounded by books. And it's on the first floor of the library. And that has been such a period of growth and challenge for us because there are so many people funneling in and out of the library system, and we're going into an existing place that's already established, that already has their rhythm. So for us, we're coming in and we're providing our own concept inside an existing space. And it's hilarious because the hush-hush of a library, and we're over there making lattes and, talking to people and letting people sit down. And we have a few librarians who are just, they're hesitant about it, but they've come to warm up to the idea that we want the library to also be another gathering place for people. And it's just another way for us to reach people. But now you can walk in, grab a book, and hear steaming wands, and we're playing music, and it's just this whole nother experience now that you can have. Mm-hmm. I grew up where they, slap your wrist for talking in the library. Right. Now we're making lattes, and we have music on, and we're greeting people when they walk through. So it's sort of this social scene happening at the library. It's been really interesting, but we're grateful. And I would say that's been the biggest challenge is how do we grow ourselves in this place and give back to this already, like I said, established system. So we're happy to be there. It's right behind us too. It's right behind our main building. So it's 10 steps away. So if you ever see me walking through the alleyway behind us, I'm just going to the library and working over there. So it's nice to have it really close. But I would say that was something we weren't expecting to happen. And it's definitely been a challenge, but we've really tried to take it and kind of squeeze out of it what we can and learn from it.
One of the things we learned about the library early on was the library is the free after-school care program for a huge percentage of the kids in this community. And so mom or dad aren't home, they walk to the library. They've got access to a computer. They've got access to books. They've got access to friends and all that. And I think Andy Stanley kind of talked about this, but he says when you move from just standing around and all that to sitting down at a table, whether it's over coffee or a meal or whatever, life happens. Yeah. Lives start to change, and you're at a deeper level than anywhere else.
So true. Yeah, that's right. Definitely. And we get to see those kiddos come in. They come in 3:30 on the dot, Monday through Friday. And they always come in, they'll get, usually a cookie, something sweet. And they have, their money with them. And I can tell they're learning how to do that and check out with us and buying their own things. And we've gotten to know a lot of them through that. And then they go right on upstairs, and the library has a place for them. I just feel like that's really special to see. And we love that we can be sort of a meeting point for them before they, head up to their area where they hang out at and where their computers are for them to be on. So we get to have tables for them to hang out at and be together. So,
well, Amy, Where is Nexus exactly? We didn't even hit that. It's
Yeah.
downtown, but y'all are right. You're right on the corner.
Yes.
President Clinton and Cumberland.
Cumberland, right there at that intersection. And it is a busy intersection right there. So we've taken on that whole window unit, that corner. So we're right there. And then the library is right behind us. And so our area is right at the corner when President Clinton starts. And so we're right at that beginning phase of the river market and in that district itself. So we're very visible, which we're so grateful to have that space. Again, you know, God had a bigger and better plan than I could have ever imagined. And he's really helped our business to slowly nurture and grow. But now to have that whole space, it's about 4,000 square feet now, where we had about 2. And so we've literally doubled in size. And I remember a vision God had on my heart was one day you're going to call yourself the lighthouse of downtown. And I think we're all called to be that as humans, but this is actually a brick and mortar space. And I didn't know what that looked like, but now seeing a lighthouse is typically very rooted. And now on that corner and how rooted it is, it's very visible as a lighthouse would be, right? And it just makes sense. That was a word someone gave me. And it's now our word that I love to use when people ask, you know, about who we are and what we do, especially those that are just want to hear the initial phase of our journey. I say, well, it all started with really being a light to others.
I want to just say thank you for being here. Thank you for having some of the best coffee in town, by the way.
Well, thank you.
We enjoy getting over there. But, I mean, and thank you for looking beyond just a business.
Yeah.
Looking after, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Immerse and all that, but you're such a blessing to the nonprofit world and the ministry world as well. So thank you for all of that. And thank you for being here today.
Well, I've loved it. And, you know, that's what it's about. So thank you for sharing that with us. And we want to continue to be that for the community. We're excited for everything to come. We're really just getting started.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed getting to hear Amy's story. I think it's amazing how she's taking her passion for business and tied it into ministry and created community that's going out and merging the two worlds all together.